Jade, and you are watching Mary Seacole's Youth Voices podcast, which is funded by Bedfordshire VERU. Today, we will be discussing the peer pressure on young people to raise funds during the festive season, and we are joined with Emily from Groundworks. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do with Groundworks.
So, hi, I'm Emily. I'm a youth worker with Groundworks. So that kind of means I run a number of youth groups around Luton and kind of the Bedfordshire area. We also do one-to-one support, so very similar to mentoring, but because we're not like professional counsellors, we can't quite call it mentoring. So we help young people with a number of issues, what they might be dealing with at home, at school, kind of anything that really comes to mind. We also do a number of different projects. Groundwork itself does more like environmental impact projects as well. So not just youth work, we kind of do all that kind of saving the planet stuff as well. I
love that because you can get them involved with that.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool.
What kind of experiences have you had with young people, I guess, when it comes to things like them earning extra funds, especially for things like in this festive season where there's a bit of pressure?
I've noticed in different areas you can really tell the difference between the young people that have money in their family and those that don't, and I see it a lot in like around Luton, particularly Sandy, Biggleswade kind of areas where the young people, they're worried about it, they're stressing about it because they're like, oh well, I know that my friend got my parents this last year, but I only got them this. And it's kind of that competition, although they don't want to be a part of it, they are a part of it because they're talking about it and it's mine's bigger than yours, etc., etc. So it's always comparison to what the other person has or hasn't got. Okay,
thank you so much for sharing that. It's so unfortunate sometimes as well. It's they're not even trying to be that way, but it just
it's so hard, but it's such a human nature thing to not put yourself in competition with others purposefully, but I feel like we always do, just as a natural, it's a bad thing to do, but we do it anyway. So it's hard to see them going through that because it just, you see like the mental effect that it has on them.
Man, well, we spoke to some young people and we wanted to gain their perspective on the topic a bit more. So we asked them about the peer pressures of, earning extra funds during the festive season. And this is some of the stuff that they had to say. Do you feel that you have experienced peer pressure to find alternative ways to earn money due to the festive season?
Yeah, because I've got family members that I want to get them gifts, and extended family, they want to buy you things, so you want to buy them things. So yeah.
I feel like there is a bit of pressure, especially because you want to make people happy around the festive season. You want to give presents, and if everyone around you is, doesn't have, you would want to give. So yeah, I feel like there is quite a lot of pressure.
I feel like it's definitely been hard trying to work, trying to still go to college, trying to have a social life, and also still trying to make sure that I'm being a good example to both of my sisters. Trying to make sure that maybe something I still get them for their birthdays or Christmas is not something expensive, but definitely something that they want.
Yeah, plenty of times it's hard to go around Christmas without having hardly anyone to get presents.
No, I don't, because I work full time, and then if I do need any extra money, I will sell random things like clothes on Vinted or Depop.
I've definitely felt the peer pressure to buy more things during this season due to events and a lot of deals I've seen online, which in turn has made me want to look for an additional seasonal type of job.
No, not just due to Christmas, no. Rent.
Yeah.
You just got to pay your rent, and that's always going up. So that's the main reason why people would feel pressure I think I'd feel pressure for money anyway.
No, I haven't. I normally get money off my mum or my dad or working.
No, I have never felt peer pressure to find alternative ways to earn money, as my mum and dad normally care for me.
No, I'm not really a believer in such things anyway, so no.
So, after hearing what the young people have said, do you think that there is peer pressure for young people to earn extra funds? Have you ever experienced peer pressure to earn extra funds? And what kind of things do you think people turn to based on your line of work?
So, peer pressure is everywhere, and especially like as we've already said, like around the festive season. Like I remember being a young teenager, and my background was quite difficult growing up. Half the time we didn't have food in the fridge, so actually around Christmas it was even harder. And I had a lot of really good friends that would come in and bring lunch for me sometimes and kind of provide for me in other ways. And all I wanted to do at Christmas was get them something to show my appreciation for them and to say thank you. Because I feel like we live in a culture where if you get something, you have to give back, or you feel like you have to. So there's that peer pressure there of like, my parents are getting me presents, so now I feel like I have to get them something as well. Yeah. And it's hard. It's so hard, especially like with the housing market at the moment and with bills going up and up and up. You know, me and my husband are experiencing we won't be getting Christmas presents for each other this year because we just can't afford to. Yeah. It's absolute madness. And so young people aren't silly. They know when their parents are struggling. They know when their family is struggling. So they'll pick up on that. And even though they realise how hard it is, they're like, but Mum and Dad, why don't you just not get me anything? So there's peer pressure on the parents, there's peer pressure on the young people. Yeah. It's kind of heartbreaking to see it. Yeah. Like just listening to those kind of testimonies is just like, I feel that, because it is just, you don't want to be that person on Christmas Day that shows up and has nothing. Yeah. So it's like me and my husband won't be getting Christmas presents for ourselves, but we will still be getting Christmas presents for our family members, which is insane.
Yeah, I think that in my culture, there's something we say, like, you don't want to shout with your long hand, which is like with like just coming to somebody with nothing to give.
Yeah, I've not heard that before.
Yeah, but what at the same time, I was brought up to like you don't give to receive and vice versa. So I feel like there also needs to be grace given, especially now. The times are timing.
100%, yeah, definite grace. And I think a lot of it is about being honest with your friends and your family and saying, we can't get you anything this year, but why don't you come over for dinner instead, or do something for your friends in another way instead of spending money, or instead of having to spend money.
We spoke to some young people. This is some of the stuff that they had to say. What different methods have you seen young people use to increase income due to the pressures surrounding the festive season?
So when I was younger, me and my friends would either earn pocket money around the house or have little jobs on the weekend. If not, people would sell stuff in school.
I've been trying to get like a full-time job or even enough hours to get enough pay to cover the cost of the festive season.
I've seen a lot of people turn to like robbing. Like, I know a lot of robberies go on around this sort of time because everyone gets like new things, selling drugs even. But people just want, like, they're not doing it because they want to, they need to. So people want to like provide for their families and all of that.
Illegal activities, including fraud, drug dealing, etc. I feel like young people will do anything to get money, not even for the festive period in general.
A lot of people that I know around me, they've been going through it quite hard recently, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but a lot of people, they just ask for the money. A lot of people, they do stuff probably they shouldn't be doing. I know someone like me, I've got about 3 or 4 jobs, which one is more often, one is more of a part-time and select, and same as the other one. So it's definitely been harder, especially with the cost of living and stuff, but you know, you do what you have to do to make ends meet.
More people turn to trapping or like dealing.
I've seen some of my young friends do trapping and fraud.
I normally see young people trap or do fraud to increase their income due to the pressures surrounding the festive season.
I have found that, aside from looking for additional jobs during the time of year to increase their income, young people also find opportunities to limit their unnecessary spending, like finding cheaper lunch alternatives.
A lot of people will turn to shutting. A lot of people will turn to selling drugs. Some people will go for the cheap Christmas work, but a lot of it would be probably drugs.
So what kind of things have you maybe seen young people resort to in order to earn extra funds off of the back of what these young people are saying? Because a lot of them did say, like, people were like trapping, which is like drug dealing basically in a nutshell. And like they even said fraud as well,
Yeah, big.
which like for young people to know how to do fraud, do you know what I'm saying? It happens, but you know, what kind of things have you seen young people do?
I've seen two very different ends of the scale. So I've seen young people like go out and get jobs just so that they can do at least something for Christmas. And then I have seen the other side of it, of like them young people being exploited into like drug dealing and things, where especially like around county lines and all that kind of stuff. It's huge, and they don't realise it's happening because it all seems so glamorous, and it all seems like, well, you know, you do this and it's this easy, you can get all this out of it, and it just pulls you in, sucks them in.
Do you think that because they've become vulnerable due to their circumstances, that people have taken advantage of them to like exploit them and get them involved in that kind of activity?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I know a lot of young people who, like, their families are desperate.
Yeah.
Like, there's like young people I know that are living 10 to a 3-bed house, and they're struggling. Like, the families are struggling, so they just need anything, and they will, through no fault of their own, go out and do anything they can to help their family provide.
Yeah.
And it's
it is emotional because it's not their responsibility, but they feel like, well, I eat too, and it kind of shows that where their heart is at, basically. I feel like some young people, it is glamorized, as you said, like it's, oh, look at all of this, I'm a drug dealer, do you know what I'm saying? But for some people, it's like, I really want to help to provide for my family, and I got to do what I got to do.
It's the only option they have.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. There's no more jobs going. That's all there is.
Which is hard as well for them.
Yeah. And it's when young people face rejection after rejection, with whether they're going for a job and they don't get it or elsewhere, it's when you finally get that, oh, well, we've got something you can do. It feels great because it's like, I'm finally needed and I can finally help my family and I can finally provide. But like you say, it shouldn't be their responsibility.
It comes at a cost as well.
It does come at a cost, huge cost.
So now we would like to introduce our next guest speaker, Abdullah. Hi, Abdullah. Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm good.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do now, what your experiences have been?
I now work for Mary Seacole as an outreach worker. Recently started working for them. Previously, I did support work.
Nice.
And going further back, it's more security work and, you know, door work and stuff like that before I became into care work. And so originally I'm from London. Used to live in Hackney, Stoke Newington. Moved up in here in 94 with my parents. Went to school up here. After school, went straight into work. You know, slowly progressed my way up the ladder, and here I am now.
Nice. So, with regards to what we're speaking about, do you believe that there is pressure for young people to earn extra funds during the festive season?
Yeah, most definitely. I think there is peer pressure. You know, like me growing up, you know, I really didn't know I was poor until I went to school. You know, other kids will let you know that you ain't got, you know, I didn't really know I didn't have anything until I went to school. You know, and the other kids look at your trainers and make, you know, fun of your clothing. At that point is where I was more conscious of, you know, not having, you know, what other kids had. So I think there definitely is a peer pressure. It does come from other kids as well, because you see what other kids have, and, you know, it makes you feel like you feel left out, you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely there is a peer pressure for young kids to, and I don't think it's just for kids, I think even for adults, you know, even as a parent, you know, if you can't buy your kids presents, it makes you feel, you know, terrible. So I can imagine how it feels for a youngster, you know, not being able to buy his siblings or even friends a gift or something. So yeah, most definitely.
Okay. And what kind of experiences would you say you have had when it comes to like maybe earning extra cash in your youth, trying to, I guess, contribute to the household perhaps, or make sure that you did have trainers or whatever, based on the fact that when you said, you know, when you would go to school, that's when you really realised, oh, we're actually poor? Because I can relate to that, like... sometimes you're putting on the gas heater, the gas cooker to heat the house, like, so like I can relate to certain things. So you did mention about, you know, going and seeing, oh, this person's got better trainers or whatever, and you even spoke about comparisons and stuff and wanting to be able to give to other people that might have given to you as well. So was there ever a time in life where you felt like, I need to get this money and sort myself out, I suppose?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, when my mum and dad broke up and my mum was really on her own, me and my brothers, you know, tried to help out my mum to pay the mortgage. So yeah, we would try and get our hands on anything we can to earn extra cash, you know, did door work, security work, did, you know, any little work that was available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At times I'd have been, you know, when I was young, did get into some stuff that was illegal, but, you know, eventually, as you grow older, you realise the risks and the effects it can have on you, your family and everything. And I think just through time, maturity, you just grow out of them things. Some people do, you know. Some people make mistakes, which is detrimental. It affects them for a lifetime. Some people can make a mistake and they learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
And... you know, but then some mistakes can affect you for a lifetime, and luckily enough, I learnt from mine, so, you know.
Good.
So, yeah.
So based on what you said about your past experience, and you did get into some things that are a bit naughty, let's say, is that something that influenced, you know, where you are now in terms of your line of work? And, you know, you said you did support work, and now obviously you work with outreach with Mary Seacole, so would you say that is something that made you think, you know, I want to work with the young people?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think there needs to be more positive older role models. And me growing up, all I really had was my dad. And then, you know, when my mum and dad split, they weren't really much of a role model. So definitely it contributed for me taking up this line of work, you know, to just give back to the youngsters. And really and truly as well, it kind of stemmed from school from me, because, you know, in school I always academically struggle, and it had an effect. It's affected me in the long run. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I feared a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? I would only go for a certain type of work as well. Everything manual handling, you know what I mean? Door work, manual handling, things like that. I wouldn't go with anything that had to do much written or reading work and stuff like that. So it's, you know, I think that's kind of what's pushed me there.
Yeah.
You know, slowly, but yeah, I think
in the long run it's been a positive thing then, because I feel like people don't really show you when you're a child that actually different people learn by learn with more academics or by book smart, but then some people are actually more not even street smart, but like just more manual in terms of their learning. Even the way that people learn as well, like some people can read something and do it, some people have to do it to do it, and everybody's different. And I just feel like, unless like, especially in like culturally, I don't know where your family's from, but
Caribbean.
Okay, so culturally, book smart is something that's really like shoved down your throat, basically. And it's like, but not everybody is like that. And it's not even the fact that you're not book smart, because I have cousins that are more manual and stuff, but these days they love to read. They're always telling me, yeah, you need to read this book and that book, The Art of War, and and I'm just like, right, like you say that they're reading, bro. Do you know what I mean? But back in the day, they wasn't on reading. Do you know what I mean? They weren't on being book smart. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that it's just about the way that, I guess, things end up panning out.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So we spoke to the young people, and we spoke to them about, you know, the rise in the crime rate, especially around the festive season, because they do want to, I guess, provide for their families, buy presents for friends and families, siblings, so on and so forth. So let's see what they had to say. Do you believe there is an increase in the UK's crime rate due to the festive season, and can you explain why you might think this?
I feel like there definitely has been. Definitely. Or maybe, not definitely yes, but maybe like a part-time yes. Definitely be because a lot of people, since it gets colder now, a lot of people stay indoors, and you know, you could do everything via social media now, so it's like a lot of people go out at night time, a lot of people stay in their house at night time because it's colder. So I feel like, yeah, there definitely is, but it's only kind of in certain type of ways.
Yes, I believe there's more pressure on young people since they have to go out and buy presents and buy themselves stuff.
I feel like there is an increase in crime rate around this time of year because people need to provide that, and they'll do that by any means necessary.
Yeah, probably, because it's just at Christmas they all everything's advertised, all the sales, everything's advertised, so everyone knows where everything is. So it makes more opportunities for people to do it, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's because times are hard. A lot of them will just capitalise on the fact it's Christmas. There's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of confusion, so I think it's more opportunity than time of year. Well, you can obviously raise awareness of it, but unless the people in the businesses, like the shop owners, all of those sorts of people are actually willing to give us the time of day, nothing's going to change. So that would have to be what you target, is the shop owners. You need to find maybe incentives for them to hire us during the Christmas.
I definitely do, like, especially when going into London around Christmas, going shopping, you get warned like more about pickpocketing, and you see other people trying to like steal things, and it's clearly obviously because of the pressure of wanting to buy presents or other things, I presume.
I would say no, but I believe there's a general increase anyway, not pertaining to festivities, just young people and how they behave and perceive the world around them now. They're very much materialised, so as I said, they'll do anything for money.
Yes, I do believe that there is an increase in the UK's crime rate, as there's a lot of young boys getting into gangs and drug crimes due to wanting to make money.
I believe that the crime rate of stealing does sometimes go up, as young people struggle to meet ends and are tempted by the displays and media coverages over this time of year.
So, do you guys think that there has been an increase in the crime rate? Because a lot of the young people, they did say that they do feel like there is an increase because it's something that, you know, sometimes people feel like they have no option, which is something that you said as well. People, sometimes they feel like they have no
other option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what you think, but yeah, there's definitely an increase around Christmas. And I think not just for young people, but for everyone. And I think like you watch like TV shows and films, and it's kind of glamorized that going out and just stealing something from the shop to try and get someone a present. And you see that more than someone trying to go and get a job and work hard to get those things. It's everywhere. Like, I think I see more of the crime side of it than the other side.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I agree with what Emily was saying.
Yeah.
I think there is around this time a lot of pressure for youngsters to try and raise funds to go out, you know, new clothing. You know what I mean? It is a period of time where pressure is put on everybody, and I would even say just youngsters. I think it's peer pressure for parents, everyone in general.
Yeah.
And
I think that's good to know. That I think it's good for young people to know that there's pressure on everyone, though, because it kind of opens up an avenue for them to be able to talk to their parents about Mum, Dad, I know that like you might be struggling, or you know, whoever looks after them, I know that we're struggling for cash, so why don't we have a discussion about what we could do for Christmas instead of doing presents? Like, why not after Christmas we go and do a really cool experience day together? And it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a trip to the beach, or it could be
go to the movies, or let's go to the Boxing Day sales, and we can get each other like Boxing Day presents instead of Christmas.
On the side of like sustainability as well, why don't we go and have a budget of like £5 and go to a charity shop and pick out a really cool present from a charity shop, because there's tons of stuff that you can find if you look hard enough. But it's just instead of just not having that conversation, because it's a hard conversation to have.
It's because it relates to money. That's why.
Oh yeah, no one likes to talk about money.
I hate talking about money.
But yeah, it opens. If you're honest with your children, and then your children can be honest back with you, and if you're honest with your parents, like, it creates this atmosphere of, okay, we don't need to spend money to have a good Christmas. We can have a good Christmas without the need for money. And why not have a day on Christmas Day of board games and just...
But for me, that's what Christmas is. Even I grew up here where the whole of the Caribbean community came to my grandparents' house, and we're playing like Articulate, we're playing Monopoly. I can't stand Monopoly because it's too long, but we're playing Monopoly, we're playing Ludo. Somebody will get the Ludo, or we say Ludi, we take out the board and we're playing that. The adults are playing dominoes, we're trying to get in and play the dominoes too. They think we can't play, we're like, okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what for me Christmas was about. Loud music, lots of food, people actually, people bring and share. So it's like, we might make the main deals, but people will actually main food, or like the meats or whatever, but other people will bring like the rice and peas. Like, one auntie is like, because she makes the best dumpling anyway, she's gonna bring the dumplings. One auntie, when it's breakfast, she'll bring like, we eat like proper like Caribbean food, like, so like kidney and stuff like that.
Great, though.
But somebody will bring that, like, everybody's providing something, so it's like, it's not just put on one person, and it just makes it so much easier, because you didn't have to do a whole Christmas dinner, you just did the dish. And even certain shops are still open, luckily, on Christmas as well, for those that don't celebrate. If you forgot something, somebody's in the car going up the road, everybody's like involved, and it takes away the pressure of like presents and stuff.
It's that we need to remind ourselves of, like, in COVID, what did we miss most at Christmas? Was it the presents?
It was
people and being around each other and being able to hug each other and just and be community and be family, and like,
precisely,
like, you don't need expensive items, you don't need presents, you just need to be together. And I think young people worry that if they don't get presents for certain people, then that person won't like them anymore. And I think, like, something I say to my young people so often is, if someone's going to get mad at you for not getting them a present, they're not really your friend.
Yeah, do you want to be around that person?
Like, do you want that person as your friend? Because they obviously don't understand your situation or what you're going through. And if they're behaving like that, do they even care?
Yeah.
So it's, just be open with people and have those conversations.
So what do you guys think, just to round it up, can be done to actually combat these issues? So one of the things you said is obviously the work that you're doing is, I would say already is something that's great. I think anybody that works with young people and does like outreach and support work anyways is great, because you're helping to shape the future people. But what else do you think can be done when it comes to guiding these young people? What do you think needs to be put into place to help them in these kind of situations?
Maybe there just needs to be just more open conversations about it for young people. Like, schools know the families that are on benefits or like might be on a lower income. So why is there not something put in place? Like, they used to do shoe boxes, right? For charities to go take them out to Africa. Why couldn't we do something and implement that here, so that young people would be able to maybe create a shoebox but for their parents, so that they feel like they've got something to give. Or even just, I don't know, it's so hard, but I think the guidance side of things needs to be like, are you having an open conversation with your parents about what Christmas might look like this year if you guys are struggling? And how can you get creative with that? Because Christmas doesn't have to be all expensive presents. Is there a way that you could be creative with it? Maybe make presents for each other instead, because that's going to be cheaper. One of the things we try to do in our youth groups is to help the young people make presents or make cards, especially like every festive seasons, like Easter and as well, birthdays and things. Can you make something for them instead? And, you know, we've got the crafts at the youth club. Why not use them and see what you can do with it?
What about you? What do you think could be done to combat these issues?
Just like Emily said, honesty, having that discussion with your parents, letting the kids know that they ain't in their own financially. Like, everyone's struggling. I guess that takes a bit of pressure off them, that, you know, they feel the need to go out and do something illegal in order to raise funds, and just to let them know there is other options there, you know, because sometimes they could be one track minded and just think that's the only way they can make money, you know. Definitely. So, and
well, I'm an advocate for entrepreneurship. I think that them creating that one thing can actually lead to a business. Listen, as we have all said, like, even as adults, it's difficult. I'm looking to do like gift wrapping services. Like, I think that the work that you guys are doing is also something that needs to be done. I think that youth work is really important. Like I said before, like, I used to go to Starlight Youth Club, where it's like you actually had a place to actually even discuss these things as well. If you couldn't go to your parents, you had other people to actually discuss these things with, and like find ways to combat these issues. So I think that's really important. So like I said, I used to go to Starlight Youth Club, and basically there was a time when they actually were closed down, and I don't know if it was because of funding or whatever, and I just feel like it made you question, like, what is actually being the things that they will spend on in the town to develop the town, but then you know what the town's like at night. So it's just like, do you think that there's enough provisions? Do you think that there's enough funding that's been funneled into youth work and into youth clubs? Do you think that they took something away that's quite actually more important than what they're trying to put back into the, I guess, the community on the face of things?
Yes. No. There's never been enough funding for youth work, and I think something that we so desperately need is more of the type of youth work which is constant, and it's always there. It's not like you're coming in just for a couple of weeks and then you're gone again. Young people need that consistency, that they can go to the same people every week and talk to about their issues. Like, I can't think of like where I would be if I hadn't had my own youth group when I was a kid, like yourself, like going along and being able to talk about my problems and how I was struggling, and having those same people be there and to ask me every week, how are you doing this week? How are you getting on? There's not enough, and there's definitely not enough funding. The budget is cut every year, and I'm sure you guys know that. Like, the youth budget is cut every year, and like Luton's budget itself was cut like 20 grand or something a few years ago. And then just think, Luton of all places.
Over the years, I've seen youth centres one by one being closed down, shut down. You know, community centres. You know, slowly and surely, it's just become less and less, and there's you know, less support activities for these kids to do and get into. You know, I totally agree with that there needs to be more.
I really like skate parks, but sometimes I feel like they're used as like a bit of a have you seen there's like a little bit of a meme where it's like there's water pouring out of a hole on like a plastic tank, and they just slap a bit of gaffer tape over the hole as if it's going to fix the problem. So it's like, I feel like skate parks are a little bit like that gaffer tape, because it kind of does provide something, but not everyone wants to hang around a skate park, and if it's in one area, not everybody
has to travel
get to it,
to that skate park.
So it's like there needs to be more thought gone into what can we provide, and what do we already have in place. And like the youth clubs, I don't know if you go in and out of any of the youth clubs in the area, but a lot of them are like falling apart.
So do you have any final words or advice for young people in terms of, you know, the pressures in the festive season and what they can do, or in terms of how they feel even as well? Do you have any words of advice?
Man, it's so hard, and like I fully empathise with their situation, because I put so much of my worth like based on how people react to the Christmas presents I get them. Like I always put so much pressure on myself just to get good Christmas presents for people. So I just like, I think my advice to young people would be is don't put all your worth on how other people react to what you give them. Like give them your love, give them your presence, and not gifts, presents, but like you physically being there and in that space with them. Giving them your time is far more valuable than any gift you could ever give them.
That's why they say today is a gift. That's why they call
it that's why they call it a present. Oh, a little bit of Kung Fu Panda in that bit. Yeah, no, I think, just don't put your worth based on a physical gift. Yeah. Like, if someone wants a physical gift from you, then, like I said earlier, like, if they don't like it, then are they worth being around?
It's true.
Just be with people.
Yeah. And you, any final words of advice?
For youngsters, just have that discussion, you know. I think just being open and honest with your parents, you know what I mean? All your parents being open and honest with their children about, you know, finance. It can help the situation, you know. You can resolve the situation by, you know, sitting and talking, and, you know, and also, just, it is hard for them, you know. I kind of feel it for the youngsters of today, but
I would say for young people, the Academy of YouTube is a wonderful place. If you really feel like you want to put into something and earn extra cash, entrepreneurship, side hustles, there are so many different things that you can look up, like life hacks, little home crafts. You can make things like you spoke about earlier, making things with like absolutely like a minimal
plastic bottles, mate.
Yeah, and you can make something so wonderful from that. Do you know what I'm saying? And you can sell that and make that a business. Like, there are so many things that you can do. If you can do hair, if you can do makeup, like, use your talent. Use whatever your talent is. Use your talent. One of my little cousins used to like fix bikes for his friends for a little change. Do you know what I'm saying? Use your talent if you do want to actually put into something, because that can actually set up your future as well and set up your mindset, so that when you're actually faced with these issues, you have the confidence enough to know that actually I'm not vulnerable enough for you to come and, you know, take advantage of me to get into any kind of activity that I don't need to, because I'm actually pouring into this, and this is actually pouring into my future, and so I don't want to lose that. So bye to that. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Emily. Thank you, Abdullah, as well, for joining us. I think these discussions are very important to have when it comes to young people, so that they can gain perspective, and we would love to see what you guys think in the comments too. So that's it from us with Mary Seacole's Youth Voices. Until next time, guys, bye.